to look at surface area of a rectangular solid or rectangular prism. So rectangular solid, as you see pictured here, it's a solid shape and it has 6 rectangular faces. It has a top and bottom, left and right, and front and back. All of these faces, or sometimes you might hear them called sides. So first let's talk about surface area in general. Surface area is the sum of the areas of here, the 6 faces, the sum of the areas of all of the faces of your shape. Here, since we have a rectangular solid, it has 6 faces, so we have to find the areas of all 6 faces. Again, there is the front, the back, the left and right, and then the top and the bottom. So we need to find the area of all of those faces, add them together, and then you will have surface area. Let me grab a visual that I think might help us picture this a little. So here you can see shaded for you the top, front, left, bottom, back, and right side of a rectangular solid. We need to find all of those areas and then add them together. But there's good news. The top and bottom are going to be the same. Front and back are going to be the same. And then the left and right are going to be the same. So that can help us simplify the formula down a little bit. So here's the formula for surface area. SA, surface area, equals 2 times length times width plus 2 times width times height plus 2 times length times height. So let's quickly explain to you where we come up with this formula, and then we'll start using it. So this 2LW, the LW, 2 times L times W, comes from the top and bottom. So if we look at this big rectangle here at the top, this big rectangular solid, you can see that this is considered the height, length, and then here is the width. So if we're talking about the length times the width, length times the width, that is going to be the top and the bottom. All right, 2WH, that comes from the areas of the right and left. And then the 2LH comes from the front and back, the length times the height. The length times the height. So the front and back. Okay, let's go ahead and practice using this formula. So here's number 1. I want to find the surface area of this rectangular solid. And you can see the markings here. The height is 4, the length is 10, and the width is 3. So it's important for you to be able to identify which is the height, length, and width. Here, 4 is my height. It tells me how high or how tall this solid is. 10 is the length, how long it is. And then 3 is the width. So knowing that, we can go ahead and plug it into the formula. SA, surface area, equals, I'm going to go ahead and put in parentheses so I can group this first part here. 2 times length times width. I'm going to use a dot for multiplication. 2 dot length is 10, dot width is 3. Close those parentheses. Plus, now for this middle part, 2 times W times H. 2 times W is 3. H, my height is 4. Plus 2, sorry, forgot my parentheses, times, for this one, length times height. Length is 10, height is 4. Sorry, I'm running out of room here. Writing a little bit sideways. Right, so 2 times 10 times 3 is 60, plus this middle part here, 2 times 3 times 4 is 24, plus, and then this last parenthesis here, 2 times 10 times 4, 80. Add all of those together. $164. We don't know the units, so we'll just say units, UN, squared, because this is area. All right, let's try another one. All right, number 2. Here you can see my rectangular solid and my rectangular prism. My height is 8. My length is 12. And my width is 6. Plug into your formula. Surface area equals, start your parentheses. So let's look at this first part here. 2 times length, which is 12, times width, which is 6, plus second part. 2 times width times height. Width is 6, height is 8, plus last part. 2 times L times H, 2 times 12 times 8. All right, this first part here, 2 times 12 times 6 is 144. Sorry, you might be able to hear my dog snoring in the background. That middle part, 2 times 6 times 8 is 96. Plus, last part, 2 times 12 times 8 is 192. Add all of these together, because remember, surface area is the sum, which means add the sum of all of those areas. So 144 plus 96 plus 192 gives me 432 units squared. So if your problem told you it was inches, you'd put inches squared. If your problem said centimeters, you'd put centimeters squared. And make sure you don't forget this squared here, because we are talking about area. All right, sometimes you'll be asked to find, instead of surface area, you'll be asked to find what's called lateral area, or lateral surface area. So let's talk about what that means. All right, so lateral surface area is a little bit different than just your regular surface area, in that it does not include the top and bottom faces. So it does not include the top and bottom of your rectangular prism. So sometimes you'll be asked to find, again, the lateral surface area. So what you do is, instead of using this formula, you're going to use this formula, and it's almost the same thing. The only thing that's different is we take out this part of it, because we're taking out the top and bottom. So let's get rid of this formula and just use LA, which stands for lateral area. Okay, so let's start with the problem. Number 1. So number 1, for lateral surface area, we want to calculate the lateral surface area for this rectangular prism. Right away, go ahead and mark which one is the length, width, and height. So 9 is the length, 6 is my width, and 5 is h, my height. Then all you do is plug them into our formula. LA, Los Angeles, or lateral area. Include your parentheses for this first part. 2 times width, which is 6, times height, which is 5, plus, for the second part in parentheses, 2 times length, which is 9, times height, which is 5. Multiply those numbers together that are in that first parenthesis. 2 times 6 times 5 is 60. Bring down that plus sign. And then multiply these numbers in the second parenthesis together. 2 times 9 times 5 is 90. 60 plus 90 is 150. And this time it says it's inches, so inches squared. So it's actually a little bit easier to find the lateral surface area than the surface area, since it eliminates the first part of the surface area formula. So we're not including the top and bottom faces. Let's do one more example. All right, number 2. For our lateral surface area, I want to calculate it having this rectangular prism. Again, right away, go ahead and label the length, L, the width, W, and the height, H. Then we can quickly just plug these numbers into our formula. Lateral area, lateral surface area equals, put that in parentheses, 2 times width, which is 15, times height, which is 10. Close my parentheses, plus, put that in parentheses, 2 times length times height. Multiply those first numbers together in that first parenthesis. 2 times 15 times 10 is 300, plus, multiply these three numbers together, 2 times 20 times 10, which is 400. 300 plus 400 is 700, and this is centimeters squared. So that's how you find surface area and lateral surface area of a rectangular prism.